for us, Brad?
Yeah, sure. Bow with me in prayer. Lord Jesus, we thank you for today, God. We thank you for just the blessings that you've given us, Lord, the opportunity to serve our community and just the opportunity to live and breathe and love each other. God, we ask that you be present in this meeting, allow us to filter decisions through your eyes and for your kingdom. God, we pray for the safety of our first responders, our military, and everybody out on the road. Lord, we pray that you change our hearts to be more like your Son, Jesus. In his name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Yeah, whenever.
I will go ahead and call Morris County Fiscal Court to order April 19th, 2022. And
Hardin's going to gavel in, too.
yes, so Hardin City Council is here, so they have, I'm assuming it's an official meeting, special call meeting, so they're going to gavel in for their special. You've already gavelled in. Okay. So just make the record show that Hardin City Council is here for a special call meeting.
Just one thing I want to put on the record. Some people may not know, but I do pro bono legal work for the city of Hardin. The issue that we have on the table today is purely a policy decision. I don't believe that there are any legal ramifications one way or other to this. Hardin City Council met on a special call meeting Friday, and I was not present. So I've tried to take a back seat on this. It's just a matter of what you guys want to do. So.
Okay. First on the agenda is Hardin Fire Department. I see representatives here for the Hardin Fire Department. The discussion over the years as far as the Hardin Community Center, a lot of folks think that Hardin owns the community center, but actually the Fiscal Court does. And there's the property, I don't know if you can pull up the total property, but it involves the baseball field and the basketball courts. It's the old, used to be school property that was given to the county. So the discussion with the Hardin Fire Department, Commissioner Lamb came to my office. We had a meeting with the Hardin Fire Department as far as taking that facility over so that they can have a fire department. It's something that I know in the past I've talked to Mayor Scott, offered the actual community center to Hardin City Council, and he said that they couldn't afford it. So to me, I felt that it was a good legislative item to bring to the Fiscal Court. So that's why we're all here today.
I think it's important too, Judge, to know that in that meeting that we discussed a portion of what you all would refurbish as a fire department, keeping a part on for a little community center as well. We discussed that.
Yes.
Polling place for the county clerk's office, because it does serve as a polling place. I think those are two important items. And I know I can't speak for Hardin City Council, but I think they have plans on down the road to maybe build a bigger community center. But I think this is a good step in the right direction for the city of Hardin. This could be a real good project if we all work together on it. I really think it's a big plus.
And as far as the fire department, the discussion for the court today with the fire department taking ownership of the community center, I'm not aware of what, Mayor, what the city council, if you want to get up and talk to the court, I'm not aware as far as the city council's position.
We've discussed it at our meetings, and like you said before, you did offer it to the city at one point in time, but we felt like at the time the building needs a lot of work done on it, and we just didn't have the money in our budget to do those repairs and to maintain it. So therefore, that's why I said it would be bad on our part to take it if we can't take care of it. But I did think that it was going to be staying there. We are behind the fire department 100%. I mean, we support the fire department. And we want to, in our meetings we've discussed, we want to work together with the fire department to make them better off, grow, et cetera. But at the same time, we hate to lose the community building and the park area for what it's used for. One of our council members has actively been talking to some people at the PAD office and doing some research. There is a grant that could be available, and we would have a good shot at getting it. Not a guarantee, but a good shot at getting that grant to actually build a community building and expand our park. The one thing we did discuss in a previous meeting, the city owns a piece of property that joins the park now in the community building. And we had originally discussed and voted to give or transfer that property to the fire department to build them a fire station on. When we figured out or found out that they were going to be getting the community building, we was going to be might be losing the use of that. Our council members, and I speak for all of them, I've discussed it with them to make sure they were all in agreement. They told me this morning they were, that if the court gives the building and that property to the fire department, that we will rescind the motion to transfer that piece of property to the fire department, because we need to retain a piece of property to build something on if we apply for that grant.
I think that property would be between the fire department and city council. It wouldn't have anything to do with the court.
Yeah. I think as far as the intent of what the city council wants to do, talking with the fire department, I don't think there would be any objection, because they were interested in the actual building.
Well, they were also interested in that other piece of property too. And that's why I just wanted to get that out on the table so that everybody was on the same page.
And I think, too, the record needs to be clear that we're not getting rid of the parks. I don't know where that come about in the last 3 or 4 days. The parks are not going anywhere. That was not the intention. They come to us, they're needing a new fire building. They looked at that. It had been offered to the city, and at the time, you all said within your budgets you could not maintain it. And to me, this, and Mr. Pettit and Mr. Fennell assured us that there would be space in this new fire department for a small community center. Isn't that correct? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be able to utilize the big part of the community building if that's where the fire trucks are going to be.
But if you all are going after a CDBG grant, I mean, it's possible there's enough space there that you all could work together to expand onto that, you see?
Possible, yes.
Yeah, it sounds like that it's still an opportunity.
Yeah.
And the CDBG, we all know the CDBG grants, they're grants.
Right.
And the ownership of the property right now, you can't get a CDBG grant because you don't own the property.
Right.
So that obviously would have to transpire.
And that's why we wanted that out on the table, that, in the event that's what transpired and they received the building, that we want to retain that property for now until we do more research and apply for this grant.
So that property joins the park where you'd be applying for the grant for the new community center? That property joins the park where you'd be applying for the grant?
It's where the old railroad tracks was at.
Okay.
In between the back parking lot area of the community building and everything.
Point to it.
And College Street.
Can you come up here and point to that, please, sir?
If I can find it. Just to the right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the, I'm assuming that's the radio station. So it'll be this piece of property right here. It's kind of a pie shape. Where we would probably, this is where we'd have to do something.
That's, this is the one you're talking about right
But that's the only feasible property that we've got that we could build some. We do own the building where the fire station is now.
Yeah,
We do own that, but it's not large enough to
That's
do
where
anything.
it's
they're
barely
wanting-
large
that's where
enough
they're
for the
wanting-
operations that they have now.
Right.
And,
And
how, do you all know how old that building is that you're currently in?
One of our council members guessed that, Carolyn, didn't you say probably before 1940 when it was
I mean, a
built?
much smaller building.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much gone. I mean, it's not, you wouldn't want to put a bunch of money into it.
Yeah.
So, as it relates to our property,
Point of order, point of order.
yeah. Give me that gavel.
Here,
Yeah.
throw it at them.
Where the railroad bed is, or where it was gonna be? Like, what is that kind of?
It's going to be a much smaller footprint, though.
Yeah, right.
But that's the piece of property that they're wanting to do the CDBG on. How is I'm still trying to understand how the other piece of property is going to restrict, if any. So they're wanting, it's more or less that the CDBG doesn't have anything to do with it.
No. That property doesn't have anything to do with it, really.
I see.
Okay, so taking that other piece of property out, looking at this piece of property and what we're talking about doing here, we're not talking about a lease agreement, correct? We're talking about deeding the property over to the fire department. Okay, and so that being said then, are we going to, assuming we want to keep the field, the ball field and all that stuff, I mean, we're going to have a survey done to cut that property in half and deed one half to them where the building is and us retain the other.
I am not in favor of giving all of it, no. No, no.
The,
Subdivide that.
well, and I'm trying to understand,
And go through Hardin Planning and Zoning.
is the city wanting the other property?
You mean,
The
park and the
baseball field
baseball
and the
field.
basketball court?
that would be,
Could we do that?
I mean, that's, I can't tell how many acres that is.
I don't
or
know
how
if
much-
I don't know if that would meet what they're wanting to try to do with,
City Park can own that partition, and the fire department can own the other section.
We need to actually have our doors for all of our trucks on the south side of that building.
Which is where the ball field's
They
at.
need to enter, they need to enter that way. And we need about 150-foot apron on the front to make this work.
So the backside of the ball field, or, I can't.
Because all the heating and cooling and all the electrical supplies are all along the north wall. We would prefer to come out the north wall, but it's going to require thousands of dollars worth of renovation inside to do that.
All the ductwork inside would have to be transferred to the south side, all the heat and air units and all the electrical panels and everything would have to be moved off that side to the south side.
Well, could the city and the fire department work together on that piece of property to facilitate both needs? It sounds like to me that the fire department and the city council need this property more than the fiscal court. I mean, if you guys can work together.
The piece of property that the city originally gave us, or they agreed to give us, because we were going to put a heliport over there and an ambulance service area, you know, in conjunction with one another. Because of the way the trees are around the backside, on the north side of the property, and all the power lines are front, that it's not a good place for helicopters to try to land there.
Right.
So this place was open with no overhead lines or anything. So that was our proposed plan when we put this together. And everybody, you know, was in agreement with that.
I'm all in favor of giving you the community building, but I don't think it's fair to the citizens of Hardin and to the city council to give you all the community building plus a portion of the ball fields too, because we have several people that utilize those, don't we, Mayor?
Oh, yeah, the basketball courts are used a lot.
Yeah.
The baseball field is used a lot, probably out of the three, the building, basketball courts, and the baseball field. If you divide them up, the baseball field is probably number three. It's probably used the least of the three.
Yeah, and in the baseball field and
Because
the
it's not big enough,
basketball
it's not big enough for the
court
bigger kids to play.
is under the county parks. So
And if you take part of the baseball field, you might as well take all, yeah, it's not gonna be, I mean, you can't use it for a ball field. You could use it for something else, probably, but
In that special meeting that we had last Friday, the mayor himself said, and I think Mr. Spindle said, that they had not seen a ball game played on that field in the last 3 to 4 years.
after COVID, it's just not, I mean, it's,
because you're only talking about the ball field, you're not talking about losing the
Basketball.
tennis, yeah, basketball and.
I mean, we could stand to lose the ball field and not be as big of an impact as it would be the basketball courts. But again, the biggest impact is going to be the building. And that's why we.
Well, how about we do this?
I mean, for us, that comes out of
Yeah.
our park system and we're.
If you,
Yeah, that's what I say. I mean, it's best for them to, to negotiate that. I mean, that's, right now, the discussion that we had, and I didn't know you guys are going to be showing up, but the discussion that we had to bring to the fiscal court was to give the community center to the fire department, and we did discuss that the community center is used, that they would have it open for the community, in which they agreed to. Everything else, it would seem like if the court were to do that, that it would be the two entities working out those issues.
Well, this is official stance of the fire department. What we would like to do is open up the south side of that building and be able to get our vehicles in. And we would like to have that piece of property over there for the heliport and the ambulance service area. But we have never intended not to keep the community center open, just like it's always been. We do the same thing with the building on Road.
Right.
So they're open for anybody.
Right.
So I don't see any point, in having two community centers right there side by side. It's just,
Well, unless I'm misunderstanding, there'd be, if you have the big portion of the community building, it's where your trucks and all your equipment's at, you can't rent that out to people for anniversary. You could rent the old senior citizens portion, which is a very small portion, you could use that, but you would not be able to use that big portion of the building unless y'all moved your trucks and everything out every time somebody wanted to rent it.
This last Saturday in Hardin, we had a wedding in the bays of the firehouse in Aurora this last Saturday, and then we accommodated them.
Well, it's also, it's also a polling place. I assume it's still staying polling if we get over the COVID thing. But, yeah, we're planning on, we'll pull the trucks out and open it up for any election or anything. We're trying to get along with everybody.
Yeah, it's,
If possible.
we want to try to work it where it's the best for both of us. But again, like I said, the council just felt that for the time being, we needed to hang on to that one little piece of property just in case we had to, we had to go that route to build something, because we really want to be able to have the use of the community building somehow. And if we do a grant and we build one, hopefully there shouldn't be any major maintenance to do to that building for several years, other than normal upkeep, utilities, insurance, that kind of thing. And that would give us a few years to generate some revenue for maintenance on that building.
So just a question, if the fire department were to receive the building, is the city willing to take the ball field and the basketball court, and then you could negotiate whatever between the two?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I think that's the fair compromise, meet in the middle.
And then we could get together and figure out what, exactly what each entity wants to do and work toward that goal.
You all comfortable with that?
Yes, we just have to be guaranteed the fact that we're going to be able to come out at least to the pitcher's mound is where our aprons are going to be coming out to.
Right here at the baseball court, you're saying? All right.
That's where our aprons will have to come to give a turning radius to back the trucks into the building on the south side.
And we could, I don't know, we'd have to look at it and do some research and measuring the actual.
The basketball court, the tennis court doesn't interfere with anything.
Baseball field.
But it's, this apron needs to be the width of the building, the length of the building.
So would it be fair to say that since it's one property, we, today, after hearing everybody, we give the property to the fire department with the intent that you guys are going to work with the city to work out what you both want with the property?
Yeah, and we just want to be clear up front before we enter into this, because like the mayor said, he is going to rescind the gift of the property over there on the triangular piece over to the east of the field, which means that we come out to the pitcher's mound with the truck pads. Then the heliport pad is going to have to be a little beyond that because we aren't going to be using it over there on the east piece. So that's where the helipad's going to have to go after the pads, the entrance pads to the doors.
But that would be where the ball field is, not the basketball.
Right out there, it'd probably be right out there about the end of the dirt.
Yeah.
Bottom end of the dirt.
Right. So we're just talking about the ball field, which you said is not really something that's used anymore. Let me throw this out though, prior to us doing this, and maybe I'm speaking, but our Parks Department, when I saw this, you called me yesterday or whatever, when I talked to Brittany, what about the fencing that's out there as it relates to the ball? Is that something that we could use or we don't need, or just give everything?
Yes.
We want it.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. So,
Yeah.
so that y'all know, then we're prior to the transfer, we would go in there and take that fencing, not around the basketball, but around the baseball, right?
Baseball.
If you come in and take the fencing, then go ahead and take the lights down too.
Okay.
We'll
I mean,
take a
can
look
we
at
use
them.
it?
I mean, if we can reuse them, yeah.
All right.
Bleachers, yeah. We'll take, yeah,
And the bleachers and all that.
yeah. We have a need for another baseball field,
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. I just,
yeah.
Would there be room for a new community building on the remaining portion of that?
From what they're talking about utilizing that, I don't think there would be anything left.
they're good with putting it on that other. Let them do it. You know what I'm saying? I think they're good with that.
If we were to rent out that unit on the side, and the fire department is obviously emergency access in case of a fire, how is that gonna?
They need to work it.
We're gonna now.
Okay, if I have a fire department, and I have fire engines, those need to get in and out for emergency access, right? So those access points, when they're blocked, emergency access in and out, where's that gonna be? Because it blocks everything else out of the unit, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think they would curiosity.
Right, so if you're gonna put it in the community center, it's not a lot. Because if you're gonna have it in the community building, on the center, where are you gonna put the car? They have to have access points in and out, and everything on those access points cannot be blocked. It's not there.
Fire trucks are, I can't think, the kitchen and the building.
Okay. Now what section are you on now?
How they want to use it is our problem.
But that's the point, where's Martin gonna make any kind of return on investment, money to bring into the community to actually not even ask for it? What about the fire department?
Yeah, but I think it's between, I think it's between.
And that, I know, that's why I'm actually putting in my own building.
Have you seen what the foundation values have to be in a community to get a grant?
Yeah, I do. I had 3 grant writers that were 4 with that.
We're trying to stay in line with the street. So, we go. Fire brigade.
We don't get this. We go out of town either west, north, or east. Then we get outside the ISO. And there's a possibility that the fire brigade or half of town could be.
Is that your stress ball money?
Yes. I'm glad you gave this to me. I didn't realize that this one was gonna be the one I used it on, but
One or, oh, I was like, okay, I was like, man. No, but, well, what we can do is we can accept the bid with his approval. Well, and he was saying that the CAD systems that are out there, he felt like this was the only one.
Is this brake hurting? Your brake hurting? Your brake is broken? Something else hurt? Are you just grabbing it? What, are you ashamed of gonna limp a little?
About y'all, you have kids or anything, but is that what y'all want to do? You want to have you want to rent this out? Our park
Yeah,
Thing is, if Hardin wants to bring in money and actually think about his business.
I don't know.
They
Yeah.
actually need a community building to have events.
Gentlemen,
If I have-
hey, gentlemen, can I step in? As far as the fiscal court proceedings, some of this, we need to, we got people waiting, so not to push you out, but there's a lot of discussions, it seems like, that are going to take place after today's discussions. So is the intent with the meeting with the fire department was to bring to the court the actual fire department taking ownership. After hearing from the city, it sounds like that they obviously have things that they want to work out on their end. But I think from the fiscal court's position, we own the property, and this is an opportunity to where we can actually give it back to the Hardin Fire Department and the city council so that they can. South Marshall, because you guys combined, that's right, yeah. But that's really our position. We are just the current owner of the property, so as far as hearing what we heard today, I mean, what's the wishes of the court?
Can we put something in there to make sure that the basketball courts are still, can we do that?
What's that?
Put something in there saying, hey, that the basketball courts are still able to be utilized and that the city council, because what right now is on the table, we're giving all it's to
Yeah,
fire
that's-
department, correct? Okay. Or are we going to split it?
I'd
Do
rather
you
see-
mean,
I would
wait a
rather
minute,
split.
I would,
do you mean us maintain
No,
those still in the
I
park
just,
system?
that's,
City
I would
has-
like to split the property down the middle.
So you want to have a
Let them
survey
have it.
done?
And then, because instead of doing it all one lump, then we have to worry about what's done with the basketball court. Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah. What's the best, and this is just my opinion, the best way is to word it to where that's the intent.
Yeah.
But
Let
those,
them
they do that.
do the survey.
That way we're not,
Make that a part of your motion,
yeah.
what you want,
Yeah.
what you want to see happen.
Did I understand right, the city is willing to take the basketball court, correct? Okay, I'd like to see that part going directly to the city, and then
Yeah.
there's no
But
wondering about who's going to maintain it and all that.
Absolutely.
Just make
Yeah,
what you want
but-
to see happen.
In the motion.
In your motion. And then that way the intent is on the record as to what the court intends to do. And then the City of Hardin and the
No, that's
fire
not what he's
department can
saying.
work between them two,
that's what he's
decide exactly what to do with it.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
he is saying that's between them, not us do two different deeds.
Right.
It's one deed to the fire department with the intent that the fire department is going to cut out the
remaining property to
basketball
the city.
court and deed it to the city.
And the Parks Department is going to take the baseball
Made the motion.
Oh, man.
infrastructure.
Yes.
Was that your
Is
motion?
that your motion?
I was trying to explain it to you two, not actually make the motion. I'm from Calvert. No, that's not true.
You said
I'm
it so
actually from-
perfectly, though.
I'm actually from Aurora, never mind.
Yeah, start,
Yeah.
get the baseball out.
Can you repeat that
In the form of a motion.
in form of a motion?
Oh, I don't know if I can or not.
Can.
That's right. They are. Unity specifically. We'll go with unity, right? All right, so I'll make a motion that we deed the property over to the South Marshall Fire Department with the knowledge and intent that they will deed over the section with the basketball court to the city to maintain.
In the parks.
And then prior to that deed transfer taking place, the Parks Department will go and get the fence, the whatever lighting that is not wanted by the fire department, and the bleachers. And any other park-related to the baseball field.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Great job, Monty. I second that.
You want me to
motion.
repeat that?
We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, so since the court went ahead and voted on that, the council can vote to rescind the intent to transfer that triangle property.
What's the pleasure of the council?
Rescind it.
Have a motion by Carolyn to rescind the motion that we made to transfer the property, the old railroad property, to the fire department. Is there a second?
Second.
Hank, second. Any discussion? All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carried.
Okay. That's it. Now we'll move on to the next item.
Carolyn, if my dad was still here, he'd be proud to know that I made that motion. Right. And my granddad. Yeah. You tell my mom I did that, yeah. She doesn't watch these videos, so.
We'll
Yeah.
go to item B, and Laurel had a dentist appointment this morning, so she is on Zoom with us. So once we get her camera.
Hey, Laurel, can you hear us? Hang on. Okay, there you are.
2 pages.
All right, hang on. Let me flip you around here. Turn my video on. Okay. Okay. Let's see if you can you talk so I can see if I can hear you? Barely. I mean, I can barely hear her.
Something she can call in on her phone.
And it'll have that echo.
No. You can hear me fine, though? Yeah.
Can you sign?
Yeah, can you... No, American Sign Language?
Well, I guess we would have to understand it also when we, well, so never mind. That would not work. I don't know how, and I don't know how to interpret it.
Who's she calling?
I don't know yet. Hey, Laura, why don't you just call my phone real quick, and I'll put you on speaker. Hello.
Better?
Yep. Oh, no, we're about to leave this
Hold
thing.
on.
Yep, mute yourself over there. Okay.
Better?
Yes.
Okay. Technology.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry for the technological glitch there.
You have the agenda, correct? So you see the items that,
Let me see here.
If not, I could just hold it in front of your screen.
Okay, what's our first one there?
the change order.
Okay, the change order for our contract So this is not technically a change order. Previously, the fiscal court has approved task orders associated with our contract, but when we did that, I failed to have the resolution include the words, and the contract would be increased by this amount. So this is not for additional work. This is just a technical issue in case any future auditor notices that the fiscal court had approved task orders, but then didn't officially document or approve to change the original contract amount. So the resolution is to increase the contract amount for ER Assist, but it's the fiscal court has already approved the associated task orders with it for that amount. If that makes
It does.
sense.
I move to approve the task, or the change order.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Brad, is the next item the SAFE grant, House Bill 5 SAFE grant?
Task order.
Yeah, the task order.
So this is the,
Task order form?
this is the,
Oh, this is for the grant management for the SAFE rooms.
yes.
Okay, so we're basically already doing this work, but again, officially to keep the grant management separate. So we had a grant management task order, but for FEMA reimbursement purposes, it's a different kind of grant program. So just to keep it easier for FEMA to have less questions for auditors later on, this just parses out the grant management that is specifically for the hazard mitigation FEMA PA 404 program, which is for the items such as the sirens and the tornado shelter / safe rooms.
Just to clarify, Laurel, this task order is within what we just approved on the change
Yes.
order? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I move we approve task order 4.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Safe grant MOA.
Did you say safe grant?
Yes.
Safe room grant or House Bill 5 safe grant?
This is going to be, we've got both. So this will be, let's just do both.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Yes,
Let's do
just-
the House Bill 5 since I got that in front of me.
This memorandum of agreement is a type of contract with Kentucky Emergency Management. We'll have to, I think, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, that this will have to be filed with Department of Local Government. But, and the county attorney has reviewed it. I don't think Jason had any issues or notes or cause for concern within this contract, or this memorandum of agreement. But
Yeah, that's
this
correct.
associates to the House Bill 5 SAFE grant that will cover items that are not covered by FEMA. The rules have changed 5 or 6 times associated with that grant, but regardless of what the rules will end up with, the county will still have to have this agreement with Kentucky Emergency Management for this House Bill 5 funding.
And I've got the application. I can just briefly go over it real quick as far as the, what we had talked about, the application.
Oh, yeah, for the application, and we'll be able, Judge, do you want me to talk about the application?
Sure.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
as well? Okay.
Yeah.
So the items that we have on there are like the concrete, which were not eligible for FEMA reimbursement. We have the local share for items like the asphalt. And then we have any debris that FEMA finds ineligible. And then we have the local share for the hazard mitigation grant program, which is the shelters and safe rooms. So we're able to add additional items. It is not a one and done, but we did want to add as much. And we also have stream debris, any items that are not covered by FEMA, NRCS, or TVA. So we don't know what all our universe of costs are and what agency is going to pay what, but it's our understanding that items that are not covered by any other grant, we can submit on this safe, House Bill 5 safe grant. As long as it's not eligible for reimbursement or being paid by FEMA. Or, I'm sorry, by a federal agency. Otherwise, that would be duplication of benefits.
And part of that, and Mayor, I still see here before you leave, just so that you're aware, one of these safe rooms or shelters is actually in Hardin. One of the things that we've looked at, obviously, is trying to get shelters throughout the county. And the Christian school, New Covenant, is got a, I guess, I don't want to speak out of line, Laura, but they have they submitted a rough draft? We're submitting.
We have enough for our initial application. There's probably some additional items that we'll need to pull from until our final initial application on Friday. The state extended our initial deadline. It was last Friday, and then they had enough people say they didn't have their applications done, so they extended it.
Yeah. So
we think we have enough for that initial application, but as we tighten that up and try to make it a more competitive application, we may ask for some additional documentation.
Yeah. So the intent is to get a safe community shelter in Hardin. That would also encompass the population in the city. If we were to ever have a situation like this again, they'll open it up to the community, and then that way folks can go to a shelter. Because we just don't have any certified shelters in Marsh County. So, but before you leave, I just want to throw it out there. We're discussing that. So that's the application, and obviously, it's going to change, I'm sure, as we navigate through the process. But the item for the actionable item is the actual safe grant MOA.
And tell me again, what was the total fund?
So I think our total right now that we've submitted is just under 800,000, but a lot of that is just a big old guess because of the delay with NRCS funding. I think it's 750,000. Let me pull it up here. We've had to revise it a couple times as they've changed the rules. Initially, we were allowed to submit for advance funding, and then they said, no, we can't submit for advance funding. So let me pull it up.
What was the total funding from HB 5? Was it 25 million? Y'all remember? Anybody remember?
I don't know that amount. I think it was initially 150 million.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
But then they sectioned off a large chunk of that for Department of Education. So
that's
I don't
right.
know what the amount was that was
Left.
finalized on Friday. I don't know what the total pot is that we're competing. We're essentially competing against all the other agencies and counties.
Yeah.
And no one knows how that will be awarded. When I asked KYM, or rather, when Erica asked KYM on Thursday, I think the answer to her was they anticipated looking at the needs of all and doing some kind of distributed percentage. But we don't know.
So do they have this is ruled on by KYEM?
Yeah, and
They have a board, or what's the
well,
process? Do we know?
I think the biggest or the most important thing is we do not have a contract yet. We haven't seen a contract from KYEM, and therefore that's where we'll get the information. We've been asking, do we have any information from KYEM when we'll be getting a contract?
You have what the resolution is. That's the contract in front of you with the yellow highlights.
Okay,
But that's just a draft.
right.
So the official contract, don't know.
But
I'm not sure they know.
we're
In
approving
fact, I'm pretty sure they don't know.
Yeah.
the draft at least.
So we're, it's an ever-changing environment.
I think the item for the fiscal court is to have a resolution to sign that contract, and any edits pending if that contract draft changes on their end. They sent it out as a draft, but I don't know if that means it's a template or if if KYEM Legal is going to send out a revised.
So we'll wait till we receive more information from KYEM. I don't think this will be the
Well, I
last.
thought she said we need to approve this, though, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
With the knowledge that it could change and come back to us.
Correct.
Correct? Okay. Well, then I move that we approve the safe grant agreement with KYEM.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, do you want to talk about the actual safe rooms, the grant?
The shelters,
Shelters.
the safe room / shelters.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a current grant program. The initial submission is this Friday, and it's for items such as generators, tornado shelters, AKA safe rooms, and tornado sirens. So we have a couple that have been identified and with different applicants throughout the county. The county itself has we've identified a structure possible at the Miracle League or at the Mike Miller Park as part of the Miracle League that would essentially reduce the construction cost of the restrooms and the concessions by turning the restrooms and the concession into a tornado shelter in times of need, but then when not being used as a tornado shelter, serve as restrooms and concession stand. So that's two solutions in one, but using federal funds helps reduce the financial burden to the county in other construction costs. And in this program, the local share, so the county share will be 5.2%. This is really unheard of for this program, so this is the time to apply for such things. There's the school is going to be its own applicant for shelter, for two shelters as well, at the high school and the junior high. And then we've identified two possible other locations with other applicants, being the two private schools in the county. And so we're helping them put together their application as well. So in the end, we hope that countywide there will be enough shelters. But but they are costly, and it is a competitive grant. There's $70 million statewide, and with the cost of construction right now, tornado shelters are running anywhere from $400,000 to $1.5 million based on the capacity.
And I'll just add, we're also, I'm also discussing with the Community Foundation, nothing agreed to as of today, but the intent is when we talk about private storm shelters, to where the Community Foundation, with the monies that were donated to Marsh County, to where those in the affected area, if they, say a private homeowner is rebuilt, they lost their home and they're rebuilding, the Community Foundation having a part to where they can actually build a safe room back into the home or on the property as a storm shelter or a safe room, and the Community Foundation have a role in that. So there is discussions on that, but I just bring it to your attention that that's in addition to the community. What Laurel just talked about, these are community, open up to the community, and as I've learned, just like in Hardin, Draftonville area, in the parks, those folks that live in that surrounding area, if they live by the private schools, they can actually go to the shelter and seek safety. So I feel that's where we as a governing body, we would like to see that to where folks can seek shelter.
So within those discussions, if you don't mind me adding this to your discussions when you
Yeah.
talk to them, could you, or maybe you all have already mentioned this, but think about those who have already done that and any type of reimbursement for what maybe they did.
You talking about build a shelter of
That
some
have
sort?
already,
Yeah.
are in the process of rebuilding and maybe have already got that in place. I'd like to see
Yeah.
if that could be an option
Sure.
with the foundation as a reimbursable,
Yeah.
because if it takes another few months maybe to figure that out, get to that point, we may have folks that have done that might apply for reimbursement.
Yeah, absolutely, because I think we all witnessed this recent storm that came in about
Yeah.
a week ago. We have folks in this community that
was
are
hectic.
gun shy.
Yep.
And rightfully so.
Yes.
So this is a great opportunity, I think, and I know we all know, to take advantage of.
Yes, and Judge, to that point, we really tried to advocate for the state of Kentucky to consider the individual storm shelters as a project. Other states, Arkansas and Alabama, do such a program. Well, they'll essentially fund individual home storm shelters. However, the state of Kentucky prefers to fund community shelters instead. In fact, they don't have a program for individual storm shelters, and their reasoning is that at the state level, they don't want to be the ones deciding whether person A gets the individual storm shelter or person B gets the individual storm shelter. So out of that, I think there's a real opportunity for the county, a community foundation, for an agency within the county to help individuals provide individual storm shelters on essentially a zero interest loan basis, but it will not, and possibly that could be a partial grant of some sort as well, but it will not be with FEMA 404 hazard mitigation money from this round, because KYM, the state Kentucky Emergency Management has said the individual storm shelters are not a program that they're funding this round. They haven't done it in the past, and they're not really interested doing it in the future. But if there's a groundswell of requests or interest, then I'm sure that could change it. But it's not happening this round.
Right. We're gonna push to try to do that locally. Let's see, state bill. Now, I've got that state bill update. That's just an update. We brought this to the court. This was the MOU that we went into with KYTC. And originally, it was at $400,000. We knew that it was eventually going to be probably more than $400,000. But just to give the court an update, with the debris cleanup on the interstate, we've estimated it at $1.5 million. Is that correct?
Correct. So our original agreement with the state was based on an estimate. That estimate didn't include things like Interstate 69, and an estimate is really just an estimate at that time. So we went above that initial estimate, and we'll be working with them to change the contract or purchase order, just so to help District 1 change that at the Frankfurt level. So we're working on that. We don't anticipate it being a problem. However, everything is has an administrative process.
That's $1.5 million. We're not talking cubic yards we're not talking debris, right? You're just saying
Right.
the money.
And that will include portions of the monitoring, that will include portions of the haul out, of the burning costs. So, there's the county debris and the county associated debris processing and final destination costs, including the monitoring, or including, the task order that you've approved for ER Assist. Part of that will go on that final state. And I'm sorry, Judge, if I interrupted you.
Nope.
I did, okay.
Nope. You're good. I believe that's all the items we have for you, unless you got something that we're...
Well, I can just give a brief update on some of our FEMA grants and the process if you want.
Yes.
Our Calvert City mutual aid grants, one has been finalized and approved. All of our grants essentially got split into two, which is a fun administrative function of that 30-day period for each, the emergency protective measures type and the debris type. So instead of having 20 projects, now we have 40 grants or projects to keep up with. So they essentially doubled all of the administrative burden. So instead of having one grant for the city of, for Calvert City expenses, now we have two grants based on, we had to do a grant for December 10th and 11th on one grant, and from December 12th forward on the other grant. And that's just because of within the FEMA grants portal software, they don't have a way to blend federal share. So because we can't blend, a 90% share and 100% share, then we have to do two separate, one at 90% federal share grant and one at 100. So bottom line, the Calvert City has gone through the system very well. The school resource officer project has gone through the system fairly well. The sheriff's office is just about to be finalized. Our initial big project which is the debris project, is about 25% of the way through the system and should not have any issues. So it's going, it's just a slow process. Our next big items will be, Roy will have to work with the FEMA site inspectors to come out and look at the ditches as well as the roadways. So that's our next big hurdle with FEMA. We do expect NRCS, USDA NRCS came and looked at the ditches, and we do expect those projects to be announced shortly. What shortly means, I don't know, but a little birdie has told me that they are doing the reviews, the archaeological reviews with the State Historic Preservation Office. So as soon as those are approved, we're expecting that list to come out. So the short story is we're aware that there's debris in the ditches and in the creeks. We're waiting on NRCS. especially for the debris that's on private property. There's nothing that the county can really do outside of the NRCS program, because there's no grant or funding cycle outside of that NRCS to clean those, the streams, ditches and streams.
And Laurel,
So we're in a holding pattern for the ditches. I'm sorry, for the streams.
and Laurel, just to make sure I understand, the NRCS is only certain specific streams that have been
It's only certain
identified?
specific streams. It is not countywide streams.
Okay.
And we really didn't get to pick and select.
Right.
We took them out to several locations, and as of right now, we don't know what their list is. But it may be all the locations that we took them to, or we think it's a big list. We know there's a lot of money, and it's 100% federal share. So we think it's going to be good, but don't know yet.
Right, and I just want to make sure, and I know you guys understand that we
Yeah,
make
it is
that
not-
clear, is that we don't make that decision. The county doesn't, so.
Right. Right, there had to be an improved property, or there had to be something at risk, and NRCS chose if it met that qualification or not. We couldn't even kind of campaign and say, hey, but there's a road a quarter mile down the way. So we're really just at their mercy. After we see their list, we can compare, any known problem areas against their list, and then if there are items that we think still need to be addressed, it's possible we can submit that to the SAFE grant, or, maybe there will be another grant program that those locations could apply for, but we won't be able to cross that bridge until we get that list from NRCS.
And one last item to just brief the court on. I know we're making preparations there is always going to be an end date as far as what FEMA covers. We are using the end of May, so a lot of our contracts that we have, we're going to have to start winding those contracts down, because once we get to the June date, that is final, that FEMA does not reimburse, that becomes 100% cost to the county. So we're trying to navigate this the best way we can and as quickly as we can, so we don't get caught beyond that end date.
Right, specifically that our donated resources and our items in
The
pending
warehouse.
for distribution. We're going to have to fast track the distribution, and/or the county will have to pay out of pocket for the storage.
The other thing that you told me this morning when we talked is I think an important thing that we need to bring up to the people, and they may not care as much as we do, but we've talked about it so many times over the last 4 months, and that's that the dates have been approved now by the state, right? The 30-day window has been set, correct? So it's
Correct.
from, what'd you tell me, December 27th through January 25th?
So because nothing is ever simple,
Well,
it depends on the
yeah.
type of grant. And for the one that included law enforcement, mutual aid, we call that emergency protective measures, so staffing the EOC, that 30-day period is December 12th through January 10th. So that meant everything that was on December 10th and 11th, we had to put in a separate grant. And that's why, instead of having 20 grants, now we have 40. And then for the category A, debris, that 100% 30-day period is December 27th through January 25th. And that was the time period that that best benefited Marshall County, and the state luckily agreed with our request, and I don't know how many other counties requested that time period. I know Hopkins and Marshall requested that time period, so
Good.
we benefited on this decision. We don't benefit on all of them, but this one we did.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Laurel, we appreciate it.
Thank you. See you in person
Okay,
in a few days.
all right,
Bye.
bye. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to correspondence, March personnel changes.
Judge, before we
Yeah.
do that, going back to the Hardin discussion, we had talked about keeping that open as a polling place if necessary. I don't think that was part of the motion. So did y'all want to go back and make that a part of that motion, or how did you want to handle
Is it already a polling?
It's already a polling place.
that? Yeah.
And they use Aurora Fire Station. I wouldn't say would be a problem, you think?
Because
But
that's,
if you think we need to, Monty can always repeat it.
Now that he's got something in his mouth.
well, yeah, and I think
it's-
those are,
I think it's just a matter of the polling places essentially just donate or allow that to be used as polling places. So, I mean, I don't see any reason why the fire department would say no.
yeah, and the representative from the fire department said that it's a polling place,
Yeah.
and so I don't think it's going to be an issue.
They're trying to decrease those polling places, aren't they? Or no?
Em said they was gonna keep them the same.
Are they? Oh, okay.
I
Never
think the
mind.
intent is to keep them as is.
Okay.
But I think the city council confirmed what we did. So, hopefully that doesn't happen.
If it does, I guess we'll blame it on my motion was not
Correct.
complete enough.
Everybody remember that.
For the record. Put this man there.
No, you don't.
I'm going to read the March personnel changes. Dylan Bradley, full-time deputy jailer, effective 3/3/22 at $13 an hour. And Mackenzie Edwards, part-time deputy jailer, termed 3/25/22.
Old business, approve the minutes, April 1st, special call meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Engineering contracts, these are, let's see, is this the, civil engineering? We should have the, you don't have them? Okay. The contracts, when we had the grant for assessment on the structures, we approved all three bids. Jason's looked at the grants. There were some changes. I think Helenka made some changes, but all the contracts are with the engineering groups. And that's more so, that's something that Laura, we didn't discuss, but that's something for FEMA, is that we have those grants in place.
The contracts
Yes.
in place?
Yes, the contracts.
Okay.
So we've got them. Jason's reviewed them. I just need a motion or action for me to sign them.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, advertise for annual bids.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing
Is that
we've done every
county?
year. Yeah. So just need the approval to advertise it, and then we'll put it on paper and make it available to whoever they want.
So moved.
Second.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I'm just going to read this as a Rivercrest. This is their renewal of their contract, service agreement. Judge Neal, when we established our Rivercrest Engineering Incorporated Marshall County Fiscal Court Professional Services Agreement in March of 2016, the initial term was established to be a renewable 2-year period. The agreement language in paragraph 1.01.a stipulates the term of this agreement is 2 years. Therefore, the agreement can be renewed annually on its anniversary indefinitely. with unit price fee adjustments negotiated during the renewal process. Our hourly fee structure was adjusted with the court's approval of our last renewal letter in May of 2021. For this next proposed one-year renewal period, Rivercrest hourly fee structure is acceptable without change. We know of no other agreement modifications or language updates that are warranted at this time. If the fiscal court is agreeable to extending our professional services agreement, we suggest an extension to May 19th, 2023. Our signatures below will suffice for our renewal purposes. If the fiscal court needs additional documentation or prefers to draft a letter authorizing this agreement renewal, that would be fine with us as well. That's sincerely Rivercrest Engineering. Brian Flynn.
I move we approve that extension through that May 29th. Is that what it was?
19th.
May 19th, 23 date, with the knowledge that there are no changes to price. So.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Mutual aid assistance agreement. And this is the, Laurel was talking about Marshall County Fiscal Court and the school board. This is a mutual aid assistance agreement. This is needed also with FEMA. Without reading into the whole mutual aid agreement, I think, Jason, have you seen this?
Yeah, what happened is Laurel met with Jill Morris, finance officer for the school board, and then after that meeting, I met with Jill, Dr. Miracle, Marty Johnson, legal counsel for the school board. Under the standardized mutual aid agreement, it was a mutual aid agreement. This had to be modified for school board purposes because the school board is limited by Constitution on what they can do and how they can expend resources. So they can only do that for educational purposes, and the Department of Education takes a really tight view of that. So they wouldn't be able to necessarily share resources or if they can't tailor it to an educational purpose. But what this does is it allows them to apply for being reimbursed for what they did. So Laurel looked at it, Jill Morris looked at it, Marty made the changes. They looked okay to me, so I think it's going to meet their needs.
I move we approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. It's that time of year, MOA for a mosquito spraying. And this is where we contract with USDA. Is it USDA? No, it's Kentucky Department of Agriculture. With the mosquito spraying, and I believe it's the same gentleman as last time. So he's already got the certification, already got the training to do the mosquito spraying.
Move we approve the
Second.
MOU or MOA, whatever it is.
Yeah, this will be an MOU. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bid opening of the CAD system.
Where'd it go? All right, this was placed in the Tribune Courier Thursday, March 31st, 2022. Invitation to bid, the Marshall County, nope, that's not it either. This isn't it. That's not on here, Corey. No. So it was advertised in the paper at some point. One bid from CIS Computer Information Systems out of Skokie, Illinois. You probably just want to know numbers at this point, and we will give this to Chris Freeman to review the specs on it. So section 9.0, cost proposal. This is net cost. This is minus an internal grant of $25,000. So net cost is $106,896.08. That looks like the initial, I guess, cost. And then a hardware cost, Schedule 1, $15,649. And then a system software, Schedule 2. This is $4,847. I don't know all the other stuff on it, so.
So, I mean, just off of that, that's 125 versus what, 180? Wasn't it? The last one?
The last one,
Yeah.
And I mean, that's my, just
yeah.
off the top of my head, so.
Do you, any,
But, I mean, I know that, no, what will I? Yeah, we'll let Justin review it. He's,
See if it meets specs, Justin.
but there are copies up here if anybody would like to take them, so.
we'll come by later. And
Yeah, sure, you will.
Money's the CAD expert.
I know, just with the remaining bonds of the 2.5, I think we had estimated about 274, that's remaining, as far as some POs that, are still pending, but it's still, under budget. And talking with Chris, this is the last big piece. The CAD system obviously is one of the big components, for the center, so. He couldn't be here today. I don't know if we only got one bid, if we can accept with his approval after he reviews it.
You could do it one of two ways. You could say, accept the bid, subject only to Director Freeman specifying that it meets all specifications, or table it until the next meeting. Let him come tell us either way. I mean,
Yeah.
two different ways to skin a cat, so.
I know he's talked to several vendors, and they're aware, or they were aware, that we were bidding this out, so.
But now, this was separate grant money that was already awarded, right? Wasn't this a separate?
There's some grant monies. I don't know what the amount is, but they're,
Yeah, I thought this was not, or that.
Actually,
When it was,
I think it's less than what it was. The 100,000, 106 is less than the actual number, and I can't remember off the top of my head what that number is.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, I think this was a separate grant that was approved for that 180, whatever. That's what I was thinking.
I'm not sure on that. I can
Yeah.
tell you what the purchase order in the computer system is for the CAD, the dollar amount.
But don't you remember, though, when we were looking at that spreadsheet, that was always to the side because it was a separate grant for the CAD system.
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
So
a
I
question,
think
for Chris.
we will just have to, I mean, would we need to approve this pending that grant? Do they have to, do they care
I don't
what
think
the
so.
amount is? They just want to know the amount. I guess.
As long as it's not over, and I know it's not over.
Yeah, no, because it was in the 180s.
Well,
thought-
what I see in here for a CAD purchase order was to rapid deploy. It was 108,000, of which it
Okay.
looks like we had paid 43 too. I'm assuming they're gonna be refunding that portion.
Yeah.
Why am I
Now I
thinking
remember.
180? Okay, so
Rapid
108,
Deploy
okay.
got the state contract
Yeah.
for the GIS. So Rapid Deploy said they're not going to do the CAD system until they get two years in
Yeah.
with the actual GIS. So that's why we had to rebid. So it was Rapid Deploy
Okay.
that's the changes. So yes, it was budgeted dollars, and I know it's 106 is less than what originally was budgeted.
The first part, yeah.
So it's not going to affect the the bottom line on the remaining dollars.
I mean, does it, our next meeting is, I don't even know what that is.
Well,
Do we need to?
I'm asking for a special call meeting for the 29th for the first reading, because I've got to
Okay.
have a balanced budget to
Some,
DOG.
could we table
but
it and add that to that special
Well,
call
he's-
meeting or no?
He's ready to go, and he talked to several vendors, and this is one of the vendors he talked to.
So we need to do it
He was,
pending the approval.
yeah.
As well.
Because he knows once Rapid Deploy committed to the GIS statewide bid
Yeah.
that they got, he's fine with, I think there were like 3 CAD systems or 2. But
I move we approve pending the approval of Director Freeman.
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next line, the sheriff's fuel line and judicial building maintenance line. Let's talk about the judicial building maintenance line. We've got some solutions for it, but
Yeah, so this is actually good on Erica's budget amendment. She's moving $10,000 back into that line item from a reimbursement that we received earlier in the year. So that helps the story, but it doesn't fix it. So we have a unit, I've got a PO in for about $19,000 for a replacement unit. I think it cools the lobby. And we had HMC out there last week, and they're talking about maybe replacement of 2 or 3 more. I don't anticipate that they're not as big as the unit that I have the PO in for right now. So that would leave like about $10,000 more that needs to be moved in there just for the PO that I have in right now, not including the ones that I'm waiting for the quote on. So we're probably looking at an additional $30,000 to $40,000, but that may not hit until next fiscal year. So regardless, I'm going to need at least 10. You want this?
yeah.
Is that your determination?
We just have to share,
Yes,
so when you're
yeah.
done, I have to take
Okay,
it.
yeah. So,
Jace, you can.
Okay, so for that additional amount, part of the appropriation transfer that I have in today is to move another $20,000 into that judicial building line from what's left of the economic development salary items in the current budget, and some out of the amounts that are left in the maintenance salaries and retirement and health insurance, so those items that go with the salaries. We can move about 20 out of those items into the judicial building. So that gets them about 30. So that's, you say 1.5, maybe air conditioners.
Yeah, and again, it may not be spent until next fiscal year. So, I mean, I think when we go through the budget, we're probably going to have to move, allot some funds into that line item to take care of those AC units. But for sure, on the one that I have outstanding, I think it cools the lobby, so it's a pretty large area. And as you know, I mean, it's going to start warming up, and they'll start feeling it sooner.
One would hope.
So yeah.
What was the total cost?
Total cost, we have to spend about $19,000. The AOC will come back and reimburse us about 17. So, but we have to spend it first. So we will get it reimbursed, but.
And we don't know if we're going to get it before the budget or after.
Yeah.
So, but sitting down with Erica, obviously, when we get to the budget amendment, we've identified some monies that could cover that expense. So, my point is, we just wanted to update you. I think 32 units on top.
Something like that. Yeah.
And probably all of them at some point.
Figure all the life of each one is going to hit, about the same time. So
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah. So as far as the maintenance line, we've identified in the budget amendment the monies that cover for that. So
Half of it.
Half of it.
Half of it.
Yeah.
We'll have to pull.
Yeah. So we'll have to identify, now when you say half,
So
that's
that'll-
10,191.
Right.
76 is the portion. So another 10,000.
Of course, that's just to replace that
Yes.
AC unit. That doesn't, then something else happens that needs to, it'll be depleted again, so.
Yes.
You need to do that through this particular, now, I thought you are doing that through this transfer already. No, I thought that's what you just said. Took it out of
So for the
maintenance.
transfer that we'll have today, I can immediately put in 20,000 into that line.
Okay.
Out of economic development salary leftovers, salary and benefits, and maintenance salary and benefits.
Right.
Then our budget amendment, we have another 10,000 that we were amending in, where we've already received a reimbursement for a prior HVAC
Okay,
issue, where we got reimbursement from AOC. So that will, in the end, once those two things go all the way through, there'll be 30 into the line.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yep.
we've already identified
Yes.
these particular transfers. Okay. I got you.
And then the sheriff's fuel line, I think it's got, what, 14,000?
13 something. 13.57.
The average fuel line is about 12.1 over 9
Per month, yeah. I ran a report, and I think the transactions themselves, not when we pay it, but when we actually spend it, is about 12,000 per month. So there's that
12,123.
gap, I guess.
So if you take an average, 12,123, but I had Brad print out the fuel cost as well. So you're in the month of March, which is the highest fuel cost at $3.83. Lowest, it's been as low as July. We started out the year at $2.79. But the fuel line, we've identified, there's some monies that can be in the budget amendment. The U.S. Marshal line, you got about $13,733 that you can use. And then there was $8,000 in forfeiture monies
Right.
in the line.
Well, it's not in our budget amendment. That's not, the
Not in the budget
forfeiture, the
amendment.
forfeiture account doesn't go on our financials.
Yeah.
Talking about federal?
Mm-hmm.
We've got some payments that hit. Is that what you're saying we've gotten some payments that's hit the federal account? Is that what you're saying?
No, just the balance that's been running is 8,000.
Okay.
So if you look at the average, we got April, you've got enough money, it appears, to cover.
We've already paid April's bill.
Yeah, I
With
think, yeah,
April.
so what
We've
you're
just got
seeing.
May and June.
Yeah, so May and June, yes.
Yes. It's not uncommon that, obviously we do this with our lines in general. We have to manage these lines up or down. But it looks like there's some monies to help get through the remaining of this fiscal year.
Plus, we've, even if we didn't have that, we've got some in our lease line that we had some proceeds that come in. That's what I was going to do when I saw this, was just try to do an appropriation from 7390 to 4290 inside my budget.
Are you saying that you had additional leases, revenue that you do need to have amended in?
When
or
CAECO they put it back onto our lease line because they receive checks from CAECO. So we have extra money in our lease line now. Does
That
make
you're not
sense?
gonna use.
That we didn't, I was going to ask for 15,000 to just be appropriated from 7390 to 4290.
Okay, so I need to add that onto the transfers to today. So you want it out of your lease line
Yeah.
to the fuel line?
Mhm.
And how much did you want me to move?
Let's do 15, just to be safe.
Okay.
I got two questions. One, you were aware that there was 2,000 gallons that the emergency management director requested during December. None of that was used by your agency. There was 2,000 gallons of gas and diesel.
I'm not aware of that.
Your representative that was there was Tim. Did he share that with you?
I'm not sure what you're referring to. I don't know what.
when we had the EOC operations, one of the requests by emergency management to the state was fuel for the agencies to use. It was 2,000 gallons, and as we use the fuel, the state will reimburse or actually refill the fuel tanks that were out at the road department. But there were 2,000 gallons. The December month is your highest as far as cost at $15,700. With the fuel gallons is $53.91 at $2.91. If you had the use of if you had to use the 2,000 gallons that were available, you used some of it, to my understanding, for the mutual aid agencies that were at the sheriff's ranch for the generators.
I'm not aware of 2,000 gallons.
I think it was the December 16th is the presentation in the EOC, and Tim was your representative. That's a missed opportunity to where you had fuel available and the agency didn't use it. And I just bring that to your attention. I mean, Tim's your representative at the meeting.
We can use it the next month then.
Well,
Use it.
two weeks
use it in
ago,
June.
the state came and got it, and they drained the tanks because the agencies weren't using it.
I sent you an email over a month ago
I think-
asking about what was your plans, what were we going to do? I sent everybody one, and I never heard from you. So we would have had time to use that fuel.
Well, it's not my plan. It's your plan. It's your
You
line.
all have to approve everything,
It's-
fiscal court. And I never heard from, I heard from some of you, but
Well, here's the sign-in sheet. Your representative was signed in on the night that the EOC operations, we ran EOC operations on the 16th, received fuel today and tanks for fuel storage. It was presented to the agency representatives that were there that this fuel was available. The emergency management office did their part to get us fuel. I'm just asking why it wasn't used.
I'm telling you, I didn't know anything about it. I'm asking why was it not brought up when I sent you the email?
Your email to me, I don't run your agency. The fiscal court doesn't run your agency.
Then respond and tell me that. You didn't respond at all to an email over 5 weeks ago.
Is it not your budget?
You didn't respond to an email that I sent you. I sent all of you one.
It
I
was
said,
the
we're
entire
running short
the entire
on
fiscal
fuel.
court.
Yes.
Okay, we don't conduct business with the entire quorum of
You
the
can
court.
email me directly.
Okay. The point is, I'm bringing up an issue that fuel was available and it wasn't used, and you said you were unaware of it. There's lines that you can pull from.
I just did an appropriation. I just asked for an appropriation transfer.
You had monies in your budget. I've had people reach out as far as your take-home policy. If you're getting to the end of your budget and you got a fuel line you're limping in, and it's not uncommon. As a police officer myself, it was not uncommon that the agencies, when they're managing their fuel line, they tell us, when you're not in the vehicle parked at the PD, turn it off. Things like that to conserve and save energy.
April 1st through April 13th. From last year, we used 1,800 gallons. This year, we used 900. So we've been pretty conservative with our fuel to make it to this point. All I'm asking for was the move from $73.90 to $42.90.
The point I'm trying to share with the court is, and I don't know if you guys get phone calls, I know I get phone calls, of why, when we have a fuel shortage in your line, you have a take-home policy, vehicles being used outside of duty, which is burning fuel.
To and from
I'm not
work.
the sheriff. I get those questions. So
You don't
that's why
relay
I'm
those
asking.
questions to me.
That's why I'm asking. With your or your take-home policy, did you ever think to make
We sure did.
decisions where, to minimize driving the vehicles
We did.
to the gym or
They don't.
to the grocery store?
They don't.
The other issue, there's an old Navy term, loose lips sink ships. And I don't know why you went to WPSD, but I was concerned
go
for
to
the
WPSD.
county that when you tell people in the media that your cars are parked and you're not patrolling,
That's
you're
correct.
basically advertising to the community and every criminal in western Kentucky to come to Marshall County because you're not patrolling.
I didn't go to them.
It's called operational security. And I just, in the future, think about that.
I thought about it.
These lines.
They need to know that they're
you
not being
just-
protected.
You just managed your line to get you through the end of the year. But when it comes to the security of the county, think about that before next time you go to the media to tell them that you're
I
not
didn't
patrolling.
go to the media.
Okay.
I got a question. Wasn't most of the excess fuel used on patrols during the tornado?
Yes, that December month.
Okay.
That and
Thank
the
you.
cost of fuel went up $1.
In the month of December, 5,391 gallons were used. If the 2,000 gallons that were sitting over at the road department were used, you would actually, at $2.91, you would have less than what you used in January. It's a,
And if you would have answered my email, I would have known to use those over the last 2 weeks.
you sending an email doesn't,
Asking the
Doesn't
judge
change the
executive of the
fact
county, to communicate with me.
that
and
your
you won't
representative
communicate.
was present when it was made aware we had fuel sitting over at the road department and you didn't use it.
You have to have the emotional maturity to answer an email.
I think we're getting off track here.
We are.
I think what the judge is trying to say, and Eddie, you know, as a commissioner, this court has supported you 100% on anything that you've brought to this court. And I think if the 2,000 gallons would have been used in December, that you wouldn't have had to send your email 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think is the point he's trying to make. And,
But why was that not responded to in that email?
well, why wasn't the 2,000 gallons used?
Because I didn't know about it.
Okay,
Well-
I mean,
Thank you, Commissioner Lamb, but I am not going to be responsible for your agency, period. You need to be responsible for your agency. Your representative was present. He signed in. He should have come back to you and told you that 2,000 gallons was available. That's not my fault. So we're going to move on. Ordinance 2022-03 Budget Amendment.
My apologies up front, this is a little bit long. Ordinance 2022-003, an ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof, whereas the County of Marshall has received additional funds. Now be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County that Section 1, the annual budget for the fiscal year of 2021-2022 is amended to A, increase or decrease the following revenue accounts: PACRO grant, Pad Ready Site $100,000, Public Property Bond Redemption Fund $8.38, U.S. Marshal reimbursement, $13,733.75. State reimbursement, $231,856.69. Insurance proceeds, $59,577.26. Insurance proceeds, $17,700. Court rental, $10,191.76. Animal adoptions, $5,617. Animal shelter donations, $19,938. Garbage tax, $65,109.96. The road fund beginning balance, $25,000. County road aid, $231,598. Excess fee clerk, $153,007.85. Miscellaneous, $22,633.35. General fund transfers in, $15,847.48. Miscellaneous, $3,200. General fund transfers in $100,526 for a total increase of revenue accounts of $1,075,545.48. B, increase expenditure accounts as follows. The Pad Ready Act commitment, $100,000. Public property bond redemption, $8.38, which, by the way, that's a new fund. U.S. Marshal reimbursement, $13,733.75. Lease payment, CFSB, $291,433.95. FEMA reimbursable expenses, $17,700. The Judicial Center Maintenance Building and Grounds, $10,191.76. Animal Kennel Personnel, $5,617. Animal Shelter Donation and Supplies, $19,938. Road Equipment, $90,109.96. Paving, $231,598. General Fund Reserves, $295,214.68 for a total increase of expenditures, $1,075,545.48. Section 2, the amounts added to the revenues and expenditure accounts in Section 1 are for governmental purposes, approved by the Marshall County Fiscal Court the 19th day of April, 2022. Kevin Neal.
I just want to add to this, as you see the $100,000, I went to PACRO as a representative of PACRO. Marshall County has 2 seats, and I asked PACRO to give us a $100,000 grant for the Pad Ready site, more so that it would free up monies on the budget side for the purchase of radios. And the PACRO board actually thought that was a good idea, that they gave all 5 counties $100,000 for economic development, and that would free up, obviously, monies in their general funds. As we move forward, we all know that the court approved a line of credit for $15 million. If you just take an annual year, the interest on that is about $341,000. Some of these monies, as we are going to amend in, as we discuss later for budget discussions, some of these monies can be used to cover that increase, and because, as you know, we have to spend the monies first, and then when FEMA reimburses, they reimburse to the state, but those monies, the interest on that line is reimbursable, but once they cut that check to the state then has to cut a check to the county. And those monies are not, that interest at that time is not covered. And I share with the court again that I went to a meeting in Graves County several months ago during the tornado disaster. Secretary Gray and State EM Director Dossett was present with District 1. And that was my concern that I brought up, is that when they cut that check, when FEMA cuts that check to the state, that we get it in a timely manner so that any interest accrued is going to be on our dime. It's going to come out of our purse. So things to think about as we move forward.
Can I ask a question? Yeah. So the garbage tax,
yes,
is added to the $25,000 balance because that tax is going specifically to the road department in that $90,109.
Right, and I think Roy's intention is to purchase the tractor.
Yeah.
And so once we have this read, you won't actually have to divide up your payments. You can pay it all at one time instead of 2 separate payments.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good point. We were looking at next fiscal year paying it off, but this will give you an opportunity to pay it off. And we're projecting right now it's at 125 in the garbage tax, and we still got one more payment. So.
Our total revenues to date are 125.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's gone up from last year,
That's
which
awesome.
was, I think, 120.
That's double what we budgeted.
Last year it doubled, and then this year it's actually, yes.
We should come in a
Yeah,
little
but I
bit.
mean, double what we budgeted.
Yeah. And we
Okay.
kept it at 60,000 because at the 2% that we were getting,
Yeah.
we really didn't know what consistency it would be, but it has. It's doubled And it looks like it's going to be a little bit more than double this time.
Yeah. Good news.
Definitely going to help. Let's see, you've got actual, give me a clean one for me to sign, because I know we made,
I've written all over mine too.
Yeah,
Does
so
anybody
did
have a
I.
clean one of these
I've-
that they haven't written on?
you can get it to
If
me
not, we'll-
downstairs. Yeah, just don't let me
This is
forget.
first reading though, right?
Well, oh, here it is. Yeah, I still got to sign it. That's,
Oh.
I wrote all over mine, so it's. Okay. The special call meeting, item H, I'm looking at April 29th, since I've got to have a balanced budget to DLG. And as I mentioned last time, because we're going to have several budget workshops in May, but the first reading is just to send it to DLG to meet that statutory requirement, and then it's going to be dead on arrival, basically, because we're going to be discussing the budget in detail in May.
30?
April 29th, if that fits for
Did
everybody.
you say 6:30?
We can do 6:30.
About 5:30.
Money ain't even rolled over.
If it helps, I have an
We
appointment in
have told
Paducah
him
at
that
10 at the doctor's for the pediatrician for the baby.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean,
So
somebody else could
8:30.
read it.
Yeah.
You could have somebody else read it
And
if you
it-
need.
if it
So
helps, it's my
8:30.
birthday that
It
day,
is
if that
I'm
helps.
fine, I'm
So-
fine with whatever.
Do 8:30 and then that
Do
way.
you have to be here?
I'll be here.
I will be here.
I'm good, 8:30.
8:30? We'll do
I can
8:30.
read it.
I can be here too, but I'd probably need to
What
leave
time
at
is
like
your-
9:45. I'm supposed to go teach a class at the high school.
8:30 is good?
Yeah, 8:30 is good, yeah.
All right, so we will meet April 29th, special call meeting, 8:30. And then the next item, Tim had sent me an email. There's some changes in the statute that requires him to be open on May 5th, so he typically takes our calendar year as far as the days we observe to be off, and May 5th is National Day of Prayer, so he has to work, his office has to work. So he is changing to December 30th is when they would actually be off. So he just sent me an email, and mainly for payroll purposes.
Yeah, so that's going to be my next question, is if they work on an observed holiday, what we state is that they get time and a half in our admin code.
Yeah, he's saying that because of the changes in the law, they have to work on the 5th, so then they're picking another day to actually take off.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah, you
get
get that, but
Yeah.
what you're saying is we need to, within our, this is not in my opinion, and nor do I think he was really asking that, but I assume anyway. So yes, our approval needs to be known that it's just
Straight time.
Straight time.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah. I don't think
because he's
I mean,
not-
we're making that on their behalf, you know,
Yeah.
and their computer system was going to be down on December
gonna be
30th
down,
anyway,
yeah.
so they
Yeah,
would
and
have been,
that's
it
fine,
would have been
yeah.
awful down there
Sure.
if they were sitting there and not able to do anything, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I'll make the motion that for the county court clerk's office, that we open for May the 5th, and then they will be closed, switch that day and be closed December the 30th, and will be paid straight time on that May 5th date.
Yep.
So we're not switching everything, just that office?
Right, just the county court clerk's office.
So that's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Road Department seasonal hire.
This is budgeted, 2 seasonal employees to follow the mowers. We'll do these separately, if you don't mind. Danny Sutton, seasonal flagger. at $12 per hour, effective today. Roy, is that okay? Okay.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Other one is Jackie Darnell, seasonal flagger, effective today, $12 per hour.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And I'll make one more comment. We're still looking for one more position to fill. So if you guys know anybody out there that wants to make $12 an hour following a mower in a truck, have them see Roy or Nicole at the road department.
Have Sirius XM radio.
All right. Transfers.
Okay, I updated the transfer page that was on your drive for Sheriff McGuire's $15,000 request to move from the leases to the fuel line. The other requests on there are the ones that we talked about, moving out of the maintenance salary lines and the economic development salary lines into the judicial building maintenance and grounds. There's also some movement from the economic development FICA into the animal shelter to cover some of the things that she needs until her budget amendment goes through for her lines. And then there's one that's to move some funds from the OEM generator maintenance line to the other county and buildings maintenance supplies line because some of the generator bills were paid out of that account, so we want to true that up. There's also a transient tax transfer of $1,457.44.
Move we approve the transfers.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Bills and claims. Is there any reason to deny payment of the bills and claims? Hearing none, we'll have the clerk record the bills to be paid. And we need to go into executive session for litigation, which is the federal lawsuit for,
Opioid.
well, opioid and the electric company lawsuit. I believe Mando was going to be calling us from Keiko.
So moved.
So,
Second.
all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we don't have any further discussion. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.